Marcus never thought he would feel so empty. The walls of his small home on the mining colony of Arendor Station felt colder than the metal outside. Every corner reminded him of his wife, Lyra, who had died in a mining accident 3 years ago. His daughter, Elara, was his only reason to keep going. But even she seemed to drift farther away from him with every passing day. Arendor Station was a lonely place, perched on the edge of known space, where the stars were sharp and cold, and the wind of the outer moons whistled through the settlement. Most humans had left this sector long ago, seeking greener planets or livelier colonies, but Marcus had stayed. He didn't have a choice. Elara needed him, and somewhere deep inside, he still hoped that maybe, just maybe, life could offer something new, something to mend the pieces of his broken heart. But today, hope was the last thing on his mind. Today, he had a mission. He suited up in his old, worn-out exosuit, its joints creaking as he tightened the straps. The oxygen hum in the helmet was familiar and comforting, a soft rhythm that reminded him life still pulsed within him. He and Elara had spent the morning quietly eating breakfast, mechanical rations of protein paste, and rehydrated fruit, but conversation had been minimal. "Be careful out there, Dad," Elara said, her small hand brushing against his arm. Her eyes, a bright mirror of her mother's, held a mix of worry and quiet hope. "I always am," Marcus replied, forcing a small smile. Outside, the landscape of Arendor was harsh and unforgiving. Jagged rocks jutted from the ground like broken teeth, and the sky glowed with the faint light of a distant binary sun. His vehicle, a small hover truck built for rough terrain, hummed beneath him as he set off toward the supply outpost. It was supposed to be a simple run. Collect parts, deliver them to the mining facility, and return home before nightfall. But nothing on Arendor was ever truly simple. Halfway through the route, Marcus's sensors picked up a faint, irregular signal. It wasn't human. His brow furrowed beneath his helmet. Signals like this were rare anomalies in the sensor grid, usually meant trouble. Sometimes, it was a storm in the upper atmosphere. Other times, it was rogue wildlife or leftover mining drones. But this was different. He stopped the hover truck and adjusted the scanners. The signal came from a rocky ravine about half a kilometer away. It was weak, fragmented, but clearly artificial. He debated ignoring it. After all, his priority was supplies, not strange signals in an abandoned canyon. But something inside him, a mix of curiosity and an unspoken sense of duty, compelled him to investigate. Marcus carefully maneuvered the truck down the rocky slope. The sensors grew stronger, pulsing with irregular bursts. Then, he saw it. The wreckage of a spacecraft, half buried in jagged rocks. It wasn't human. Its design was organic, sleek, with curves that seemed almost alive, and a faint blue glow emanated from broken panels. Smoke hissed from torn conduits, and a low hum pulsed through the air. His heart beat faster. He had seen ships like this in archives, in old transmissions from distant systems, but never in person. He approached cautiously, hand on the grip of his toolkit blaster, not intending to shoot, but ready to protect himself. Then he saw her. She was small, lying against the hull of the craft. Her skin shimmered faintly in the fading light, a soft, silver-blue hue. 2 large eyes opened, wide with fear and confusion, reflecting both the stars above and the devastation around her. She moved slightly, groaning in a language Marcus could not understand. "Hey, can you hear me?" he said softly, crouching nearby. "I'm not going to hurt you." She tilted her head, studying him. The alien form was delicate, but the expression, pain, fear, and desperation, was universal. Marcus felt a pang of empathy, deeper than he expected. She reminded him of Elara, in some ways fragile, alone, and in need of protection. He quickly scanned her with his portable medkit. Her life signs were weak but stable. He pulled off his helmet and spoke more slowly, trying to make his words clear. "Come with me. I can help. You'll be safe." After a tense moment, she nodded, or at least, he assumed it was a nod. Her body was slight, trembling, but she allowed him to lift her gently. Marcus carried her back to the hover truck, wrapping her in thermal blankets to preserve warmth. During the trip back to the settlement, Marcus tried to communicate. Words failed, but gestures worked. Pointing at his chest, then at her, he repeated, "Safe, home, food." She mimicked the gestures hesitantly, her large eyes blinking. Somehow, a fragile connection formed. Back at his home, Ilara ran to him the moment he entered. "Dad, who is she?" Marcus knelt, holding the alien carefully. "I don't know yet, Ilara, but she's hurt, and we have to help her." Ilara's eyes widened with curiosity and excitement. Unlike her father, she didn't see fear. She saw possibility. Slowly, carefully, she helped Marcus set the alien on a makeshift cot. Marcus monitored her vitals as best he could. She breathed steadily, though shallowly. Her hands, delicate and glowing faintly, flexed in the blankets. He tried simple words again, repeating her name in guesses. "Kael? Kaelira?" She responded to the sound, giving a small, almost imperceptible nod. Marcus smiled faintly. Names, even guessed ones, mattered. They humanized the unknown. The night settled over Arendor Station. Marcus sat by the cot, Ilara beside him, both watching over the fragile alien life. For the first time in years, the weight of solitude shifted slightly. He realized that grief, while heavy, did not have to define the rest of their lives. There was space in his heart for something new, something that might eventually heal the cracks. Kaelira, as Marcus began to call her, had survived a tragedy he could not fully understand. And yet, her presence stirred a quiet curiosity and a gentle hope in him. He had no idea what her story was, why she was here, or what dangers might come with her arrival. But he knew this. He could not turn away from someone who needed help. Not now. Not ever. Ilara reached for Kaelira's hand, her small fingers brushing against the alien's. The touch was electric, a bridge across worlds. Kaelira flinched at first, then relaxed. Marcus felt an unfamiliar warmth in his chest. A spark he had thought lost forever. Perhaps, he thought, this meeting was no accident. Perhaps the universe had a strange way of reminding him that even in the deepest loneliness, hope could be found. As the night deepened, Marcus sat alone after Ilara fell asleep, listening to Kaelira's faint breathing. He looked out at the stars beyond the window. They were countless, infinite, and yet, tonight, one felt different. One felt like the beginning of something new, something beyond sorrow. He didn't know the path ahead or what challenges this alien presence might bring. But for the first time in years, he allowed himself to imagine a future where his broken family could grow again, healing together, bridging worlds, and finding joy in unexpected ways. Outside, the wind of Arendor whispered across the barren landscape. Marcus understood that life was fragile, unpredictable, and often unfair. But in this fragile moment, a human father, a brave young girl, and an alien widow shared the quiet promise of a new beginning. And for the first time in a long while, Marcus believed that maybe, just maybe, it could be enough. The morning sun of Arendor Station crept through the thin curtains of Marcus's home, casting soft light across the small room. Kaelira was awake, her large eyes observing the world cautiously. She had spent the night in the cot beside Marcus's bed, and though she had not slept fully, she seemed calmer. Marcus had stayed close, watching over her with a careful, quiet attention that surprised even himself. Elara was the first to speak, her voice bright with excitement. "Good morning, Kaylira. Do you want breakfast?" Kaylira tilted her head, blinking at the girl. She did not speak, at least not in a way Marcus could understand. But her nod, small and hesitant, was enough. Marcus smiled softly, realizing how important this small gesture of acceptance was. They began with simple tasks. Elara handed Kaylira a tray of rehydrated fruit and protein cubes. Kaylira examined the food cautiously, her glowing fingers hovering above it, before finally picking a piece. She tasted it slowly, nodding slightly. Elara clapped her hands quietly. Maxin, 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 proud of the small success. "See? It's not so scary," Marcus said gently. Kaylira's eyes flicked to him, and for a moment, Marcus felt a strange connection, a silent acknowledgement that they were beginning to understand one another. It was fragile, but it was real. The day passed slowly. Marcus focused on work, repairing equipment, and monitoring the settlement's communications. He wanted to maintain some sense of normalcy. But his attention often drifted to Kaylira, who watched him and Elara with quiet curiosity. The alien's movements were elegant, almost fluid, yet careful. She seemed fascinated by the small, mundane aspects of human life: cutlery, cups, the simple way Marcus brewed coffee. Elara, sensing an opportunity, became the bridge between them. She picked up a tablet and began drawing pictures: a sun, a tree, a small figure holding hands with another. She pointed to each picture and said the words slowly: sun, tree, hand, family. Kaylira watched intently, then mimicked the gestures, pointing at herself and Elara, her lips moving in soft, strange sounds. Marcus watched from across the room, a mixture of awe and cautious optimism filling him. Language, he realized, was not the only way to communicate. Trust, patience, and gestures could bridge even the widest gaps between species. As evening approached, Kaylira finally attempted to speak a word. It was soft, almost musical. L-A, Ra. Elara's eyes widened, and she giggled. "That's my name. You said it." Kaylira repeated it slowly, and for a brief moment, the room was filled with a shared joy that transcended the differences between them. Marcus felt his chest tighten, realizing that this small alien being so different from him in every imaginable way was becoming part of their lives. Over the next few days, the process continued. Marcus taught Kaylira simple tasks: how to use a water filter, how to charge her small devices, how to move safely in the mining settlement. Kaylira, in turn, shared small pieces of her culture. She pointed to the sky and made a series of melodic sounds, which Marcus eventually understood to be the names of distant stars and planets. She showed them symbols etched into small stones, explaining, without words, their significance in her world. Elara was fascinated. She asked endless questions, and though Kaylira could not answer in human language, she responded with gestures, sounds, and drawings. Together, they built a dictionary of sorts, a collection of simple signs, images, and sounds that allowed them to communicate more effectively. But life on Arendor Station was not without challenges. Some of the other colonists began to notice Kaylira's presence. A few stared openly, whispering among themselves. Most kept their distance, unsure what to make of the alien visitor. Marcus felt a protective surge whenever he sensed suspicion or unease. He knew that the settlement's acceptance would not come easily, but he also understood that turning away from Kaylira was not an option. One afternoon, as Marcus repaired a mining drill near the edge of the settlement, Kaylira wandered outside with Elara. They moved carefully, following the worn paths through jagged rocks. Kaylira's curiosity was evident. She examined plants, touched the rocks, and observed the strange creatures that occasionally scurried across the barren ground. Suddenly, A small hover drone approached, sent by the settlement's security patrol. Its sensors scanned Kalira briefly before beeping a warning. The drone hovered, its lights blinking red. Ilara stepped forward, holding Kalira's hand. "She's with us! She's not dangerous!" Ilara shouted. Marcus ran toward them, raising his hands to calm the drone. "It's fine. She's under our protection." The drone's sensors recalibrated, detecting no immediate threat. Its lights shifted to green, and it floated away, leaving Marcus, Ilara, and Kalira standing together. Marcus felt relief wash over him, but also a renewed awareness. Kalira's presence in their settlement was unusual, perhaps even dangerous to her, if misunderstood. He would need to teach her how to navigate these human interactions carefully. As night fell, the three of them returned home. Marcus prepared a simple dinner, while Ilara and Kalira experimented with sharing food. Ilara demonstrated how to use utensils, and Kalira mimicked her movements. Laughter filled the small home, a rare and precious sound that Marcus had not heard in years. After dinner, they gathered near the window, looking out at the twin moons rising over the jagged horizon. Kalira traced patterns in the air, small, glowing trails following her fingers. Marcus realized she was describing something, perhaps a story from her world. Ilara leaned against him, her eyes wide. "She's showing us her world, Dad. Look at her stars." Marcus nodded, feeling a profound sense of connection. Despite the differences in species, language, and experience, they were beginning to understand one another. The human heart, he realized, had the power to reach across the galaxy, to touch even the most alien of beings. Kalira eventually lay down on the cot, her glowing hands resting gently on the blanket. Marcus sat nearby, watching over her. He thought of Lyra, of the life they had shared, and of the emptiness that had filled their home since her death. And yet, in the presence of this fragile, brave alien, Marcus felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps life could still offer second chances, new beginnings, and unexpected family bonds. Ilara's voice broke the silence. "Do you think she's lonely too, Dad?" Marcus looked down at his daughter and smiled softly. "I think we all are, in our own ways. But maybe we can help each other feel less lonely." Kalira's eyes met his, and for a moment, Marcus felt as if she understood every word. In the quiet, glowing light of their small home, three souls, two human, one alien, began to form a bond. It was fragile, delicate, and full of uncertainty. But it was real. And for Marcus, that was enough. The following days were filled with small victories. Kalira learned to perform basic tasks, from preparing simple meals to helping Ilara with her lessons. Marcus marveled at her intelligence and resilience. Despite her grief, her eyes still held a spark of curiosity, a desire to live and learn. The settlement slowly grew accustomed to Kalira's presence. Some colonists remained wary, whispering about the alien visitor. Others watched with quiet fascination, observing the small, unconventional family forming before their eyes. Marcus understood that trust would take time, but he was willing to wait. Kalira had survived unimaginable loss. She deserved safety, understanding, and friendship. One evening, as the three of them sat beneath the twin moons, Kalira pointed to the sky and made a series of melodic sounds. Marcus and Ilara listened intently, and gradually, they began to recognize patterns. It was a song, a memory of her lost family, perhaps, or a story from her world. Marcus felt a lump form in his throat. The sadness in her song was deep, but there was also a resilience, a quiet strength that mirrored his own determination to protect his daughter. Ilara reached for Kalira's hand, squeezing gently. "It's okay," she whispered. "We'll be your family now." Kalira's eyes glistened, and for the first time, she made a sound that resembled laughter. Marcus felt warmth spread through him. a light in the darkness that he had not expected to find again. In that quiet moment, he realized something important. Humanity was more than survival, more than technology or strength. Humanity was empathy, compassion, and the courage to care for others, even those from worlds beyond comprehension. In protecting Kaelira, Marcus was reclaiming a part of himself he had thought lost forever. And in watching Elara reach out to her, he saw the future not just for his daughter, but for the fragile, growing bond between two species, two broken families learning to heal together. As night deepened, Marcus looked at the stars and whispered softly, "We'll get through this. Together." Kaelira's hand rested against Elara's, her glowing fingers warm and comforting. Marcus watched them, and for the first time in a long time, he allowed himself to imagine a future where loss was not the only reality, where hope could flourish even in the most unexpected places. And under the silent, infinite sky of Arendor Station, that hope began to grow.